How's it going, YouTube? Just gonna give you a little rundown of my kayak trailer here. I would think a little more advanced. It was all built out of Schedule 40 3-inch PVC pipe and conduit strut. It's very budget friendly. It's built out of a Jon Boat trailer, 12-foot Jon Boat trailer that you can pick up in most people's backyards for about a couple $100. And kind of what I did to make this work and make it what it is now, and some things to think about when you're constructing the kayak trailer. If you want to do a top bar like this, if you're fishing tournaments and you have a potential to win a kayak, or just if somebody wants to go with you, or you're doing a river float and two of you want to go and you got to park somebody down on the other end and bring a vehicle back, you know the river shuffle. So if you have to do all that, some things to think about, and that's about it. We'll give you a rundown, and stay tuned to the end because I'm going to give you some ideas on making these top bars and some things to think about. You're going to want to, I like to unload and load fully loaded. I don't want to be at the ramp trying to put rods in, trying to put everything together. You got people waiting on you, some ladies taking video of you. You know the whole drill. You'll end up on YouTube. You'll be a short somewhere. So I'm going to show you and give you some ideas on how to build these so you can load and unload fully loaded. Starting in the front, this piece here, all of this came with the kayak trailer. All I did was have to adjust this section. This moves freely on this pipe right here. Adjust it down so this rubber piece butts up and fits nicely to the front of the kayak. And then this, I don't use it to winch it up. I just use it as a safety on the front handle. I'll get more into that when we get the kayak on there, and I can explain to you how you leave it fully loaded and everything else. So moving back, this also came with the kayak, or with the Jon Boat trailer. I just adjusted this to fit the bottom. It just had to go, all this just had to go down. This had to go down, and this had to go back. I did not put conduit strut on the front because I want the bow of the boat, I want these to bend and move a little bit to fit the bow of the boat. Going back, here's my first crossbar. This is conduit strut. I did make sure that you cut it so it fits to the width of your kayak. Because what you can do is you can put your strap hooks right down in here instead of having to wrap them around the trailer or anything else. Make sure this comes all the way to the edge of the kayak. Just bolt it in with U-bolts right here, right there, and then it's bolted in with conduit strut nut right there with a 1/2-inch hole, and then a 2-inch hole saw drilled out with 1/2-inch bolts going through right there. And then I did end up putting a crossbar in here because I didn't like the way the PVC pipe sags so much, so it is braced right here and on the back, but it is not bolted in, so it can still flex side to side and absorb some of the shock of the trailer. And that is just bolted in where the original bunk boards would have went in. Moving back, same thing, another piece of conduit strut, bolt here, bolt there, securing it where the bunks would originally go. Same deal, 1/2-inch bolt right here, 2-inch hole, 1/2-inch bolt, conduit nut, back and forth right here. I did put turnouts, so it gives me about 1 foot to get it close to the kayak. Depends on how you want it to go. You can also heat those up and bend them out if you get enough PVC pipe. I did not have enough to fit the length of the kayak, so I just put 2 cap ends on. And then let's talk about the top crossbar here. This is the same thing. All this is built out of conduit strut. These are actually just bolted together right there and right there with L shapes. You can find all this at your local Menards or Lowe's or Fleet Farm or whatever. They should have that in the section. Same down here. Although the difference is I braced it because it had a little side to side play. So I braced it down on the bottom so it wouldn't flex side to side, because I didn't want to add a crossbar from there to there, so because I wanted all this open space for rigging. Same thing on top here, all this fully adjustable, same thing, side to side, and bracing it. The thing to think about is if you're going to make these permanent, you need to make sure they're the right spacing apart, because you want to be able to load and unload fully rigged up if you're going to put these up there. Let me get the kayak on there and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so this is the kayak fully rigged, ready to drop in the water. All I got to do, get it in the water, park my truck, get in it, and go. I'm going to start with saying you got to figure out your spacing for these bars. You want them far enough apart to where you have room side to side to get in here and hook up your seat, your fish finder, everything in it, all your center section stuff. But you also want them close enough to where your PVC pipe won't get flex out of it and these bars won't wobble side to side when you get another kayak on there. So I'm going to start after that. I'm going to start at the front and I'm going to work my way forward with some of the things that I explained to you and why they're bolted in the way they are. So at the front, remember I talked about adjusting this section down. So this butts right up to the front of the kayak. I adjusted this forward just a little bit so it barely sits right on the nose there. And then I did a full length with the PVC pipe. Why did I have it go all the way up here? Because it'll flex down. And I didn't pushing it on and off. I didn't want to worry about these butt end caps hitting where the transducer is or where the tri-hull starts. So right here, these will flex down so it'll mold to the shape of the front of the boat. Now headed back, make sure you give yourself about half a foot of space between your tallest object and your crossbar. You'll thank me later. When you splash a kayak into the water, they float, and depending on the pitch of the ramp, they can float up quite a bit. So just give yourself, learn from my mistakes, give yourself about a half a foot from the tallest thing on your kayak. Now the edges, for strapping it down, make sure, this is a little close. You could go a little further than that, but make sure that these bar ends go all the way out to the edge of your kayak, so when you strap it down, your straps will go right in here. Clip to this or clip under that. They're just easier to strap down than trying to loop it underneath the kayak and put your straps in there. This way you can just walk right along the side and hook them up. Now coming up, you'll see it's really nice. I can have everything rigged. This I had to flip backwards for the time being just so it can be on the kayak when I splash it. And then I just keep my paddle and my net right underneath the seat. Flip around to the other side. Paddle just goes underneath the seat like that. And then going back, here's the hard part. Make sure this bar is forward of all your rod tubes, everything else, your flag if you have to have it on there, your boomstick if you take video like I do. You want to be able to slide this in and out of the water without having to take anything off of it. All right, now we're on to splashing the kayak. I just use a standard boat line like this with a loop tied in it, about, I don't know, a foot forward. So there's 2 loops in it like that. What I'm going to do is unhook my safety rope, just throw that right in the front of the kayak, tighten it up. Then you're going to take this and you're going to take the forward loop end, wrap it through the handle of your kayak. You're going to pull it all way through that. So it makes a slip knot right there. That's tight, that's not going anywhere. Your second loop right here will go right over the front of your trailer. You just leave that right there and you're ready to back into the water. When you're going to splash it, you back up, you get set up, you take that off, grab the other end of your line, and then kick it into the water. I'm going to go catch the evening bite, so I'll give you guys a tutorial on that.